Hi guys, so it's been a few weeks since my last book review. If you follow me on social media, you'll know that I've been taking a little bit of a break from book reviews because one book a week was a bit too much pressure for me, and I take full responsibility for that. I applied that pressure onto myself. One book a week, I thought I could do it. I did do it for almost a year, but it got a bit too much. It felt like I wasn't enjoying the books and I was reading to a deadline. So I think I'm going to try and do these a bit more leisurely from now on. Maybe I'll aim to do maybe one every 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll see how that goes. But we are back, and I thought I'd start light with my comeback, if you will, book review. And we're going to start with Darren Shan, Zom-B City. This is obviously part 3 of our Darren Shan Zom-B saga series. We're going to try and review all of these if we can. And this is Zom-B Chronicles 2. This is the second series in the Chronicles series, which are just bind-ups of 2 books in the series. So Chronicles 1 was Zom-B and Zom-B Underground. We reviewed both of those books, and today we're going to look at Zom-B City, which is the 3rd book in the series, and it's the first book of Chronicles 2, of which there are 2 books, Zom-B City and Zom-B Angels. So the next one will be Zom-B Angels, and this is Zom-B City. So Zom-B City follows up immediately after the events of the 2nd book. Of course, if you haven't read the 2nd book or you haven't seen my reviews, please click away, go and read those 2 books, because there will be spoilers for those 2 books in this video. Watch the reviews and then come back and look at this one. So she's immediately after the events of the 2nd book, in which B. Smith, or Becky Smith, ends up being starved of brains because she refuses to cooperate with the soldiers who run the facility. She ends up breaking out. Then Mr. Dowling appears, the monstrous clown, psychopath, demon person thing. He appears, and there's a whole massive scene in the underground bunker where they're running from the zombies and all this kind of thing. And one of her friends turns out to be human, not a zombie. He previously believed he was a zombie who had been burnt, and that's why he had this suit on all the time. He was actually human. The suit was to conceal his heartbeat, and eventually the other revitalized, which is what B. Smith is. She's a zombie, but she can think, and she has all her capacity. The other revitalized, having been starved for brains by their captors, they lose their minds and they kill this poor man, and they eat his brains. And B. Smith, being the only one who resists the urge, the soldiers let her go. And it picks up immediately. It's in the city of London, and I absolutely love, anybody who's watched my channel for a little while knows I love dystopia. But what I love most about dystopia is the little things. Where if an author can write a dystopian novel and have little tiny details, I love it. Darren Shan does it brilliantly. He highlights the fact that London Eye keeps rotating. Certain areas still have electricity. At one point, BB walks into a shop and the cash register is left open, but money hasn't been taken because money has no use in a dystopian society. Tiny, tiny little things like that. Shops being left deserted, cars being left abandoned in the middle of the road with sometimes dead people still inside them. Little tiny things like that. That's what I love about dystopia. It fascinates me, and he does it very, very well. B is still committed to her anti-racism ideals after the events of the 1st book, in which she sacrificed the poor black boy Tyler at her dad's order because he wanted to buy them some time to get away from the zombies. And she resolved from then on to never ever be discriminatory or racist or biased ever again, to the point where in this book, at one scene, there is a zombie that has been strung up to a lamppost, and the zombie is still alive, still growling and violent and hissing, but she resolves to cut him down and free him because she doesn't like the idea of him being left there to rot in the sun, and she cuts him free. And that is still very prominent in the book, and she actually, the entire plot of City is her. She resolves to, again, I'm trying to keep it spoiler free, she resolves to find humans and offer herself to them for experimentation, for research, so they can analyse her blood and realise that there are zombies out there who still have their full capacity, who are revitalised. So she tunes a radio and she hears about these rescues that the army is running every few days or so, and she eventually resolves to go to one of these rescues, which is in Trafalgar Square. And Trafalgar Square is the climax of Zom-B City, and it is essentially a showdown between B, there's some humans, there's the army, and there's Mr. Dowling, the clown we mentioned earlier. He makes an appearance as well. So again, I want to keep it spoiler free. I'll let you guys go ahead and read that. Very fascinating, very detailed. I love the way Darren Shan details these things. And the gore is very adult for a young adult book, for a young adult author, Darren Shan can be very, very adult when he wants to be. Very gory, very violent, very disturbing. And that, I think, is what drove me towards him in my younger adult days. I'm now 26, but when I was 17, 18, I read his Darren Shan saga. In fact, even younger than that, I think I was about 14 or 15. I read his Darren Shan saga, which at some point I will buy all the Darren Shan series and I will review them for you on this channel. I'll read them again, but that's what drove me to that. I think he was very, very adult for a young adult author. So go ahead and read that. That was Zom-B City by Darren Shan. And as ever, in typical Darren Shan form, it's left on a cliffhanger. And luckily enough, I've got the Chronicles, so I can just read the second book as and when I want. But imagine being someone who Zom-B City just come out and you've just read it all, and you're left with a massive cliffhanger. That is what drives people to read Darren Shan's work. That is what drives people to buy the next book in the instalment. He loves a cliffhanger. He's a brilliant writer. He's was one of my favourites as a young adult, and probably one of my favourites now. So go ahead and read it, check it out. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have a little discussion about what your favourite Darren Shan book is or was when you was a younger adult. He really is. He is really a brilliant, phenomenal horror writer. Phenomenal, particularly when you think about the age group that he aims his work at and the amount of actual adult content in these books. He's quite brave to put some of the things he does in these books. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next book review. Maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in 3 weeks. I'm trying to pace myself a bit more. But thanks for watching anyway. I'll see you in the next one.